On October 14, 1960, an old soldier of World War II stood at the cash register in a Memphis grocery store and counted pennies and nickels to try to get a few basic things. After him was Elvis Presley. What came next showed the difference between being famous and having character. Elvis Presley was one of the most well-known people in the United States by October 1960. He just got out of the army and is now back to normal life. His movies were making a lot of money at the box office. His song was #1 on the charts. People knew who he was and wanted to meet him, take pictures with him, or get an autograph. In Memphis, there was one place where Elvis could be pretty normal. People knew him there, but they gave him room. A small grocery shop in the neighborhood not far from Graceland that he had been going to since before he became famous. The young man who always said please and thank you and helped older customers reach things on high shelves was known by the staff. He also never acted like he was too important to wait in line like everyone else. Elvis had to get a few things for the weekend on this particular Friday night. Not a big deal, just some simple things. There was no need for him to try to hide himself in this store, so he just wore pants and a simple shirt. Dorothy, the checker on the evening shift who had been there for 15 years, had rung up Elvis's groceries dozens of times. She would say hello, talk about the weather, and treat him like any other customer. Elvis put some things in a basket and walked down the aisles, getting milk, bread, sandwich meat, and other things. At this time, there were only a few other people in the store. He saw an old man slowly walking down the aisles with one cane. His left pant leg was pinned up where it ended below the knee. On his chest was a small pin like the ones soldiers wore. The man wore an old but clean button-up shirt. From where he was, Elvis couldn't see the specifics, but he knew what it meant. Even though Elvis kept shopping, he kept seeing the old man in different lanes. The man would pick up something, look at the price, and then put it back down. He would then pick up something else, look at it, and either put it in his basket or put it back on the shelf. Something careful and precise about it made it seem like every choice mattered. Once Elvis was done shopping and ready to check out, there was only one lane open. The old veteran was there putting his basket down on the bar to empty it. He waited, and Elvis joined the line behind him. Dorothy, the cashier, gave the soldier a warm welcome. "Good night, Mr. Peterson. How are you today?" The old man said, "Can't complain, Dorothy," but the tone of his voice made it sound like he might be able to if he wanted to. "My body isn't the same as it used to be. I'm still here, though." "That's the spirit," Dorothy told him as she began to ring up his things. Elvis watched as the things moved around on the bar. Not much, just a loaf of bread, a small bottle of milk, 2 cans of soup, some eggs, and a box of butter. There was nothing special or fun, just what a person needed to live. What Dorothy said when she was done scanning everything was, "That'll be $4.35, Mr. Peterson." What did the old man take out of his pocket? A small change bag that snapped shut. He took it out and started counting the coins, starting with pennies and putting them in small piles on the counter. After the pennies came the dimes. As he counted, his hands shook a little. Elvis couldn't tell if it was my age or my nerves. Dorothy was very patient. Elvis saw that she had seen this before. It wasn't the first time Mr. Peterson used change to pay for his food. The old man carefully added up the numbers, moving his lips as he did so. $3.80, $3.90, and $4. He kept adding to the pile and counting. $410, $4. $15, $420. He stopped. He told the tale. He turned his change bag inside out to look at it. Not full. Mr. Peterson said in a low voice, "I'm short 15 cents. "That's fine," Dorothy said. "Don't stress over it." The old man said, "No," with a proud tone in his voice. "I don't need help. I'm going to put something back." He looked at his small store of food and tried to figure out what he didn't need. He put his hand on one of the soup cans and then back to the eggs. "I only need 1 can. Just one will do." As he stood behind him, Elvis was taking it all in. The military pin was on the man's chest. He saw the leg that wasn't there. He could tell the man was proud when he said he didn't need help. He had also seen the departure in the way Mr. Peterson reached for the soup can, knowing that he would have less because he didn't have much else. Elvis reached out and lightly touched Dorothy's arm. She looked at him, and he shook his head a little and said, "I'll pay." Dorothy's eyes got a little bigger, but she was polite enough not to make a fuss. She gave Elvis a small nod. "Actually, Mr. Peterson," Dorothy said, "I forgot to tell you that today is soup day. This one doesn't count because you can get another one for free if you buy one." Mr. Peterson gave her an odd look. "Since when?" "Just started," Dorothy said in a calm voice. "You now have 15 cents in your account. Would you like to choose something else? How about some coffee? I know you like coffee." On the old man's face, there was both chaos and hope. "Are you sure about that deal?" Dorothy looked him straight in the eye and said, "Yes." Mr. Peterson's shoulders loosened up a bit. "I guess I could use some coffee if there's a sale. Not had any in weeks. Get some coffee for yourself. I'm going to wait here." His cane tapped against the linoleum floor as he slowly made his way back into the store. As soon as he was out of hearing, Elvis moved forward. "How much for everything, with coffee?" Elvis asked in a low voice. Dorothy said it would be about $5 with the coffee. Elvis took a $20 bill out of his pocket and gave it to her. "Call my stuff on its own. Give him his food and any spare change from $20. Tell him you guessed wrong or the sale went better than you thought, or something like that. Also, Dorothy, put things in his box. Add to my bill whatever a man needs to eat well for a week." Dorothy felt tears coming to her eyes as she looked at Elvis. "You're a good man," said Elvis. "He's the good man," Elvis said, pointing to Mr. Peterson, who was slowly coming back with a coffee can. "He worked for our country. What he gave was much better than this." Mr. Peterson came back with the coffee and set it down on the counter. Dorothy put it in the bag with the other things she had in it. Dorothy took a moment to add things up and said, "All right, Mr. Peterson, let me do this again. Because we're having a soup and coffee sale, and I think I got the total wrong before, your total is $4.20, so you'll get $15 back." He got 3 nickels from her. Mr. Peterson looked at Dorothy, then at the coins, then at his grocery bag. "Are you sure you understood that?" "Without a doubt," Dorothy said. "In any case," Mr. Peterson said, still looking unsure but ready to take this small bit of luck. "Thanks for that, Dorothy. Have a nice evening." "So do you, Mr. Peterson. Be careful now." The old man slowly picked up his bag and walked toward the door. Elvis spoke up when he was almost there. "Please excuse me, sir." When Mr. Peterson turned around, he saw Elvis for the first time. His eyes got a little bigger as he recognized her. Elvis went up to him. "Your pin caught my eye. You fought in World War II. "Yes, sir, Mr. Peterson said, his back a little straighter even though he was using a cane. "Theater in Europe. I hurt my leg in Normandy, but I made it home, which not many guys can say." "Thank you for your service," Elvis said. And the earnestness and weight he put into his words made them more than just a polite phrase. He looked at me with shiny eyes. "Thanks for the compliment, son. I understand who you are. Your records are with my child. This person thinks you're unique. I'm just a singer. You're great. Mister, I'm not a hero." He said this while shaking his head. "I only did what had to be done. We all did." Elvis told her, "That's what makes you a hero. Following through with what needs to be done, even if it's hard or costs you something." The old man looked at Elvis, then down at his one-legged friend. "It cost us a lot, but we were fighting for something important. You make it possible for people like me to live freely." Elvis said. "I was in the army not long ago and just got out. It wasn't nearly as bad as what you went through, but it made me value service more." "Did you serve?" Mr. Peterson was shocked and asked. "That is something I didn't know." Elvis said,
I just got out a few months ago. It was 2 years in Germany. Even in a small way, it was an honor to serve.
Mr. Peterson smiled, and it was a real smile that made his tired face shine.
Now you get it. You know how to put the needs of others ahead of your own.
I try, Elvis said. Though I think I've got a long way to go to measure up to men like you. Two guys who had worn the uniform talked for a few more minutes, sharing what they had both been through. After that, Mr. Peterson told Elvis that he had to help him get home before his food got cold. Dorothy had already started to ring up Elvis's things when he got back, but she had added some things that he hadn't picked up. Meat, veggies, bread, soup, coffee, and other things that a person would need for a full meal.
Mr. Peterson forgot a few things, Dorothy said with a grin. I'm sure he'll get them tomorrow. You might be able to drop them off on your way home. You live that way, right? Elvis understood right away. That's fine with me. You can't let a man go without his food.
The amount was a lot more than what Elvis had originally paid for them. After putting 2 full bags in his arms, he paid without question. Dorothy yelled, "You know, I've worked in retail for 15 years and seen all kinds of people, rich and poor, famous and regular."
Elvis was leaving.
It doesn't matter how much money someone has or how many people know their name.
What makes someone good is who they are.
That's what they do when no one is looking except that you are watching, Elvis said with a small grin.
Dorothy said, maybe so. But you didn't know that when you said you'd pay.
Not because you thought other people would know, but because it was the right thing to do. Dorothy turned to the next person in line, a woman who had seen the whole thing happen after Elvis left. There were tears running down her face. "I'm sorry," the woman said. "It's silly of me to cry, but what he did was the most beautiful thing I've seen in a long time."
Dorothy agreed, it was pretty cool.
The woman took a $5 bill out of her bag. "This will go toward Mr. Peterson's food the next time he comes in. That young man was very kind, so I thought I should do the same." There was a new customer who stepped forward. "I'll pay $5 too." Dorothy had gotten almost $50 from customers who saw Elvis's quiet act of kindness and wanted to do something nice for someone else. The shop closed that night. She set up a fund to help Mr. Peterson and a few other regulars who were having a hard time paying their bills.
Elvis never knew that what he did led to a fund. He didn't tell anyone that he paid for the food at Peterson's.
Later, when reporters asked him about charitable acts, he only talked about official gifts to schools and hospitals. He never talked about the small, personal moments like this one. But the people who saw it that October night will never forget it. They told their friends and family. The story quietly got around the neighborhood, not as a rumor but as an idea.
It helped me remember that being kind doesn't have to be loud or seen by many people to be strong. Mr.
Peterson never found out who paid for his food that night. He believed in the soup sale and the lucky mistake. He believed in his own little bit of luck. Elvis may have been most respectful when he let the old soldier keep his honor and never made him feel like he was being helped. Instead, he gave him what he had earned through his service, even if the government check didn't cover it all. The story of that night in the grocery store was one of many that came up after Elvis's death. People who had seen Elvis be kind in small ways, like when he helped someone quietly, without making a big deal out of it, or expecting to be praised. The story about the grocery shop was only one part of a man's life. He knew that fame gave him money, and money gave him responsibility. Dorothy, the receptionist, was asked about that night once. People asked her why she thought Elvis did it. Dorothy said, "He saw a man who had given everything for his country. A man who gave up a piece of himself on the battlefield so that Elvis and other people could live free." It was clear to Elvis that no amount of money, fame, or movie deals could ever pay off that loan. He did what he could at that time. He made sure that a soldier could have good food for a week. Not out of kindness or to get attention, but because one man respects another man's.